Both TVs have an LCD screen with quantum dot color technology and a vertical alignment pixel configuration, which means they have VA panel, although in the case of the C6K, TCL prefers to call it an HVA panel, because the viewing angles result are slightly better compared to the conventional VA panel. Nevertheless, the results are not as amazing as promised on the website, although they are slightly better compared to the Q80D. The main difference between these two models has to do with the backlighting technology, which in both cases is a direct LED with full array and local dimming. However, in the case of the C6K, it has mini LEDs. It means that it has smaller LED lights, a greater amount of them, and more dimming zones. But even if the difference for these 55-inch sizes is 100 more zones in favor of the C6K, the truth is that in practice the Q80D performs exceptionally well in this area of dark scenes. But I have to mention that you can see slightly more blooming on the Q80D, especially if you have subtitles in every scene. But this can be easily fixed when you set the local dimming low. By the way, you should keep in mind that the dimming zones and the levels of brightness vary on every model according to each of their sizes, and also according to every picture mode. And the values I put you on the screen right now are based on the movie or cinema picture mode. Both models, when the content has high dynamic range, have these parameters that help them to improve performance, try to optimize contrast and level of detail. In a standard dynamic range, the TCL has this parameter known as automatic HDR conversion to try to make this type of content look like if it had some high dynamic range, slightly improving contrast and color enhancement. Speaking of colors, both models have parameters that help them to increase the level of saturation. In the case of the C6K, it's called dynamic color, and in the case of the Q80D, it's called color booster. And in general, the color saturation capacity of both TVs is very high, being slightly higher in the Q80D. The C6K supports the IMAX picture mode, which can be useful for some users, while the Samsung does not support this picture mode. It is also important for you to know that the TCL has Dolby Vision high dynamic range technology, including Dolby Vision IQ picture mode, while the Samsung does not support this high dynamic range technology. In the case of the Q80D, the technology activated will be HDR10. Gray uniformity on both TVs is good, the blurry screen effect is not so noticeable. Even when you watch content with higher color volume, I think that the blurry screen effect will be not annoying. Image upscaling on both TVs is fine, just remember not to expect wonders because no 4K TV will display 4K results if the content resolution is low. Motion handling, I must say, is slightly better on the TCL, helping to further reduce the effect known as judder and also blur, although the result on the Samsung is very good too. In terms of gaming, the main difference is that the TCL supports 120Hz and 144Hz in 4K along with variable refresh rate technologies on two of its HDMI ports. On the other hand, the Samsung supports 120Hz in 4K also with variable refresh rate technologies on its 4 HDMI ports, but it does not support 144Hz. Both TVs offer game bars with different functions. The TCL's game bar has these three design options in case you want to vary. Both game bars allow you to access certain features such as displaying an aiming aid on the screen. You can change the position, color and size if you require it also, and the most important about these game bars will be these picture modes. The TCL only has 3 picture modes, which can be enough for the vast majority of users, but the Samsung, as you can see, has more picture modes, including the auto mode, which through artificial intelligence picked the best picture mode according to the video game you're going to play. The input lag times on both TVs are very good, I have no complaints. The overall performance is outstanding on both TVs. I will dare to say is practically the same. The amount of ghosting effect is almost imperceptible in most scenes, even those with dark areas and fast movements. Speaking of the smart area, this will be their remote controls. The Samsung's, known as One Remote, is smaller, more ergonomic and more comfortable to the grip. It can be charged via solar panel and via USB Type-C port. The TCL's operating system is Android TV based on Android 12 with Google TV customization layer, while the Samsung's is Tizen with one UI customization layer. In both cases, the fluency or the smoothness of the operating system is good, sometimes being slightly better on the Samsung, especially with the YouTube app, although I wouldn't say it's stressful on the TCL. On both, you have the option to access these menus for shortcuts, and you can change the placement of these icons, which I consider it very useful. The App Store is specific to each operating system. Apps on the Samsung vary according to every country, and you cannot install APK files on the Q80D because the operating system is not based on Android, while obviously you can install APK files on the TCL if you need to. Both models have the option known as hands-free for searching using voice commands. And on both TVs you have access to these features known as multi-visual or multi-view. Let me tell you about the speaker system that both models have. In theory, the power is supposed to be the same, but in practice, the overall bass power is better on the TCL and the experience is also very clear and sharp. I'm not saying the result on the Samsung is bad. I think it's very good, both in power and clarity, but the result is better, as I said, on the TCL. And at the end, I'll leave you with a slide test so you can roughly get an idea of how they might perform in real life. So, if you guys ask me which model I will recommend you, obviously the TCL is much more complete, is more balanced, and is probably a better option for the vast majority of users. But if you like the Samsung brand and you can get the Q80D in relatively cheap price, then go for it. In overall terms, is also a very good option. That's it. Please guys, let me know at the comment section down below what you think about these models, which one will you buy and why. I remind you guys you can support my channel by doing some purchases through the links I put in the description and in the first comment. Also click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and until next time.
The swarm brought ruin into our world. The swarm brought ruin to our world. Our proud people became refugees. Our proud people became refugees. And yet, they could not shatter our unity. And yet, they could not shatter our unity.